One. Hey everybody, thanks for joining another episode of Grand Arena Zone. I'm joined here by Kyn. He is ranked 28th in the world right now, so he's doing pretty good, and we're going to look at some of his footage from this season. We do have some data available from last season, so you can pour through that on swigga.gg as you go. We'll also have some footage, and we're going to talk about some of these counters and maybe new things that popped up this season. So, Kyn, thank you for joining.
As always, it is my great pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So what's this first one we're looking at? Is Merrin versus Zorii.
Yeah, so this is, I'm sad to say, not Merrin versus Jabba, which while I love that counter dearly in my matches this first week, I didn't feel that I had the banners to lose by doing that counter or taking that risk. So this is, well, now that we have the stats available, like you mentioned, this is like close to 100%, I think 90 something percent. Not a huge amount of data, and it changes a little bit depending on what team you're running, but it's super easy way to kill Vim Zorii. Like I think you'll see the fight here is over in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, they're just stacking the plague up to like 20 so fast. Did you have the special extra plague datacron?
Yes, that's what makes it really fast. The level 6 that gives plague upon death. And as soon as one of your Night Sisters dies, you just use basic ones with whoever else is left alive. You don't even really need Merrin stats wise.
Jeez. But not working on Jabba for threes?
I mean, it does work. I have gotten it to work before, but I didn't want to take the risk because I was fighting pretty good opponents the whole week.
Gotcha.
So I felt I shouldn't. As much as it hurt me, I love Night Sisters versus Jabba.
Nice.
This is an interesting counter. It doesn't have 100% success rate. It's like 60-some percent success rate on GG. The most important part is that you don't kill Qui-gon Jinn before JKA does his AoE.
Right, I was just thinking that.
That is the key. Because this, he had the good stacking datacron on this one. Like, it was a great Qui-Gon Jinn team.
Yeah.
But I felt that I wasn't going to kill Qui-Gon with my mass assist. A bit of a gamble. In the end, it worked out for 54 banners.
Yeah, that could have gone wrong.
Very, very wrong, yeah, for sure. But it ended up, I think I won this particular match by like 17 banners or something like that, so. Actually, I realized I didn't cut this early part out of the
that's okay, we get
video.
to see who you're facing, Darth Puppy. I hear Zareth talk about facing him, so one of those top 100 regulars.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's actually in my guild as well. I had never faced him before.
Oh, sweet.
So it was nice. We had a good like debrief after the fight to see who used what and tips and stuff like that. That is one advantage of either fighting guildies or being in like the same range all the time, where you get to know people you fight against.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, this one
so this
I'm no stranger to this one.
Yeah, it's also not the most like I was a bit afraid going into this one because my DC is okay, but it's just a 15% with reasonable stats. And on their team, they had like 150% armor penetration or something like that. So I was a bit afraid, and it might have been better actually in this fight in hindsight, instead of using 5s to use ARC Trooper.
Yeah, I agree.
Because otherwise, I mean, you'll see here a few times, timing wise it works out okay, but Ahsoka just destroys Gath. So if I hadn't sat up,
a joke. Would you replace 5s or Rex? I would think you'd want to replace Rex.
No, I would replace 5s. I really, really like Rex for, you'll see here, for killing Seer.
Oh yeah, true.
I don't really think, like, I don't think there's any risk if I sacrifice. Yeah, here goes Seer. That was lucky right there. I think I might have lost one or two had Gas not killed Ahsoka on the
Yeah.
counterattack.
Yeah, but Arc, yeah, he would be nice here because him and whoever the second one is, they just dispel constantly. So that's be really, very nice.
Exactly. I think it would take away a lot of the risk from Ahsoka
Hmm.
because I could guarantee that she would get like sort of half the buffs, I imagine.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
here is,
the way. Sorry, just one more point on that last one. The
yeah,
way I
yeah.
get around that is I just try to bring some decent defense, and then she does her whirlwind, unloads, and I have like a little bit of health left or protection left on Gas.
Yeah, had I used a better datacron, that would have been a lot easier. That was really not my. I was sort of scraping the bottom of my level set nines. So here it's a very good, very well modded, whatever chieftain team with old Boba. Man, without the Tuscan datacrons, it's so easy to kill with Ida, and it's
Yeah.
not really worth it on defense.
Yeah, Boba Fett Sign of Django is not. I don't think that's a viable team for threes. I think you need to just put one Tuscan team, Chieftain, Warrior, and Raider, and that can cause annoyance. But even then, it's fallen a long way.
Yeah, well, here we go. Exactly that team. It's a great datacron, a very good team. Everybody's Relic 7 or Relic 8. And I just used Radis, K2, and Jinn, and it's a very easy win. Like, without the Omicron, I think Tuscans they're quite good on offense still. I like the old Boba version for killing thin teams also.
Gotcha.
But really on defense, not. I think they're like a filler team at this stage for defense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like, were you trying to balance out the kills on the two Tuscan Raiders? When I faced something like this, I was trying to get them both to low health so I could kill them off with one AoE, but I couldn't.
Yep. I was basically trying to get them softened up for Radis for his 100% AoE. That was my goal. In the end, I didn't succeed. You'll see I killed them once or twice.
Yeah.
Just because without the Datacron, they don't get all the bonuses from gaining momentum. I think it was the level 9 from Chieftain getting a lot of stacking defense, in addition to the regular stuff they got from the Datacron. And I'm trying to save Radis's AoE here also.
How come?
So you see,
How come the summons stayed down?
you can kill the summons first with a no revive, and it will stay dead. So Jinn had her whatever Radis's unique ability is that prevents revives.
I thought it only prevented revives on Empire enemies.
No, that's Radis. He dazes Empire enemies when they gain turn meter, but Jinn's special, whatever it is, I forget the name of it, stops revives on anybody when she has it on, and she has it on all the time with Radis active as a leader.
Oh, but it's part of the Jinn kit.
It's with Jinn and Radis together.
Okay.
It's only when those two are together.
Okay, I'll have to look back at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
A pretty easy 57.
I like this one.
I was looking at the stats too, and this doesn't have. I thought it would be 100% on GG or something close to it, but it's something like 70%. I think it's because people play it wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of room for user error, and what you have here, you have the automatic stun from Wookiees, and you're good about stunning Tarful as often as you can.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for user error here.
Because I think I only sort of figured it out. I knew I want to stun Tarful, but I forgot about the stacking tenacity that his level 9 gives them. So in the end, what I did was stun Tarful so he wouldn't dispel on basic, because I needed the translation from C-3PO to keep the stun refreshed, basically.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of eventually landing tenacity down with CLS here, and it prevents them from getting any buffs, and it's pretty much game over at that stage.
Yeah. And they have the good level 6 on them too, or I think it's probably one of the strongest ones where it's 75% damage reduction over 50% turn meter, so you gotta be really choosy with who you attack.
Yep. Yeah, it's a strong team. This is actually one of the best performing non-GL teams on defense.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even, the third doesn't really even matter. It's just Tarful, Zal, and some other Wookiee with Tarful's level 9. Doesn't even have to be, he doesn't even have to be relic 7 now. He can just be relic 5.
Yeah.
It's a crazy good Datacron. I really did not expect it at all. I thought it was going to be, But
yeah, I learned the hard way when I tried Bad Batch. Someone posited that Wrecker would make it better, but I'm still not totally sure. But he would help with because I just wasn't getting defense up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's constantly the spells and all the TM gain that they get, so Tarful takes more turns.
Yeah, they gain turn meter almost concurrently with when I'm applying days. They heal as I'm applying healing immunity and getting turn meter as I'm applying days. So annoying.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. This fight is interesting. So I didn't play it great. There's one stage later in the fight where I could have saved some banners by not letting Ayla be exposed. But I have it was a test. I'd never done this fight before. I have the level 9 whatever for Ayla.
Yeah, the assists.
And it actually helped a lot with the stuns.
Yeah.
And the extra damage, which I was pleasantly surprised with.
Yeah,
I think JKL. Awesome. Yeah, I think JKL shock and sort of any other Jedi would have done okay, but extra damage and stuns were pretty nice from Ayla. So she does end up dying here. I think with shock I could have hit her one turn before.
Yeah.
But it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but JKL gets it done. His health pool is so high that Drain Life barely healed him.
His protection, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean you're talking Malik?
Malik. Because he drains Shock T and barely healed up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. This is a good one too, an R9. Well, most of the top 100, I guess, have R9s now because of...
everyone's got R9 now.
The Leviathan,
yeah.
So here's a great example talking about the Tuskens. So I still like the old Boba team on offense for exactly this reason. I think from the stats for the first week, it's not 100, but it's very, very close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they don't have any burst damage. I think it's 90% when Resistance Fin is in there.
Yeah, and they can't help but stun lock themselves because of all that momentum on Boba.
Yeah. And one of the things I enjoyed most about this fight is the funny positions where they get stunned in.
Yeah.
It's humorous.
Yeah, it is. Get a little chuckle.
I think it's just with the Tuskens that they use the different animations, or is there some other teams that use different animations for stuns?
I've seen it. I don't know. I haven't paid close enough attention. I think it's others. It's just how fast it happens, because they have to get stunned when they're attacking, and that's not super common.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So
when
it
they're
might be, yeah, it might be just Tuskens, but I feel like I've seen it before.
What does Cal Kestis, the OG Cal Kestis, he stuns enemy on the beginning of their turn? Oh, but it's their turn also, not...
Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't work.
For some reason, I have this picture in my head of 3PO and Chewie doing his Dispel and then getting stunned, while he's turning, and I don't know where that's happened. But that's not a damaging attack, so it wouldn't happen against the Tuskens. Maybe that was in Conquest or something. I don't know. But I've seen it.
Interesting. What are you using for Finn when you have to kill him?
I'm using Afra because
Okay,
like
yeah.
I don't like putting her on defense because she just gets blown away by Dashon and Chewie. So yeah, and I'm not seeing. I think I saw her once last round defense, and I just blew it away in like 10 seconds. But otherwise, people are putting it on offense. So I actually put Dashon and Chewie on defense for this round because they were ending up being overkill a lot of times.
Oh, that's a good idea. But yeah, I think Afra is one of the best offensive teams in threes. She cleaned up a ton of GLs and she kills a lot of stuff just straight up.
Yeah. Wampa.
This is, yeah. This particular fight, they're Relic 8 or Relic 9, Kara and Kyle Katarn. But my Wampa is Relic 9, and if you look at GG stats, this has like a 98% success rate.
Yeah.
So in general,
sorry to interrupt, but we have another. This is another instance of them getting stunned in a funny position.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, also
so this looks a little
dicey.
Yeah, but stats wise, I would take Wampa up against like, and this is also a terrible DC. It's like not even a dark side 15%. I really was down to like just leftovers, so I put in. I think I put in a light side defense or something like that.
Would he get anything from the level 3 anyway, since he's by himself? Is it still bugged? It's supposed to be for other allies.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't get anything.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so in that case, not really that much difference.
Yeah, no big loss.
But regardless, on GG, this is like a high 90s success rate Wampa versus any sort of Saw lineup. So I'm really
Rex Rebels.
Yeah, and there's not that many other places usually in threes for. Well, I mean, depends on your opponent, but I oftentimes have a hard time now with all of the unresistible stuns and ability blocks and whatever to find a place for Wampa.
I'm gonna try Wampa against Darth Revan in this round because it's the guy set Bastila and HK, and it's like a 93% win rate from like 15 Wampas. So I'm gonna give it a shot.
Cool.
We'll see if that pans out, but
if it does, I hope I can put it on the counter videos. That'd be cool. This is another interesting one. It is, to me, when I ran this fight, it seemed quite easy. But I talked to some other friends who ran the same thing, and one of them succeeded and two of them failed. And I think it has to do, I saw footage of one of their fights. It has to do with one of the JMK hits, not critting. And you'll see here where I use Seventh Sister to put Foresight on Grand Inquisitor. And I think that helps save him a bit too. So all of the fights sort of start like that, whether you use GK or Mace or whatever. The tank dies really quick. So right there he had Foresight and avoided a hit, very important.
Okay.
And here you can't ability block Ahsoka, or she will not cleanse herself and get Death Mark.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And that's one failure case. And once she has Death Mark, then it's very easy. It doesn't get cleansed.
Nice. And then when she's gone, it's pretty easy.
It can still fail. Right there. Yeah. So I use Torture, but here I give Foresight to Grand Inquisitor. And I've seen it fail here before when Kenobi doesn't have ability block. Probably some also like relative speed thing. If he doesn't have ability block, he's killed Grand Inquisitor in one of the other fights there. And once Grand Inquisitor is dead, he can oftentimes outlast the other two.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But in this case, it was a pretty easy dunk. Yeah.
Oh, back-to-back Riva battles.
Yeah, I
Both
use Riva a
Jedi.
lot. So I actually faced at least one, maybe two people with this team on defense. And I use it on defense all of the first week as well. And for Riva, it's not that hard. But again, stats wise, it didn't match up to what I was expecting. I thought this would be like an 80 or 90. But I think some people maybe don't use the ability block or something at the start of the fight, and Watts gets off tank
Probably.
tech, and then.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's a very
yeah, it
important
was.
step.
Yeah. And especially since both of these guys cleanse, like Bastila can cleanse JML and herself there, and then oops. Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah, that is ridiculously easy.
Did you face that at all in the first week? Because I think you were one of the guys who. I think it was last season you faced it a few times.
Yeah, I think I faced it my first match this last week, and I lost because it was in the back. And I think I did set Riva just because my opponent had a habit of placing Savage on defense, so I was trying to punish that, but it didn't work out very well.
Yeah, it's interesting, the whole Savage, because C and Savage are fantastic on defense together.
Mm-hmm.
But then if they play Savage, you can place Riva, and there's really no good non-GL options, and even the GL options are not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting
yeah,
little back and forth there.
Now that we have a week of data, I'm going to be scouting more and like being more choosy with Riva on offense or defense, but I don't see tons of Jedi GLs on defense. People bring them on offense.
Yeah. This is the very last fight that we have.
Yeah, ships.
And it's a fleet one, yeah. Well, until they make these upcoming Leviathan changes again, which is it's ridiculous, they're still doing them. For most of my opponents, they place Leviathan and Executor Triple Attacker on defense plus some other ship.
Mm-hmm.
So you use Profundity versus Leviathan, that's easy. Mm-hmm. And then you need some other option versus Triple Attacker. And in my opinion, this is like the easiest highest banner Triple Attacker.
Wow, counter. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess Scythe, if you're using Scythe with Empire, then I guess you can get an easy win against either Profundity or Executor. You just gotta pick one.
Exactly. And in this case, if they do place like Profundity, Executor, and Leviathan, I would actually use this versus Executor. No, this versus Profundity. Not exactly the same comp, but some Empire comp. Versus Profundity, and then I would use something else versus Executor, like last and 5v5, I think. My first order are okay, so I've been using I used first order versus Executor and worked pretty well.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's really smooth right there.
Yeah. Let me get to a loading screen. Yeah. There we go. That's all the fights for this week.
Yeah, good stuff. I had one question for you for my upcoming round. So if you were going to go against a Lord Vader Maul Royal Guard with JMK, like JMK Cat, would you use General Kenobi or would you use Mace? I was planning on using General Kenobi and then putting the damage immunity on him first. But how would you approach that? Because it's like 80% health they have on their Datacron, and they have the ability block.
Yeah, I would definitely use General Kenobi as well. In fives, I think I would always put the damage immunity on GK first, because you have just so much more incoming damage on the tank. Mm-hmm. So if you put it on the tank first, you're going to almost certainly save his life, and you can do a swap from Ahsoka to the other Ahsoka, and you can build up alt charge and the cooldown on her her Cat's ult faster with baby Ahsoka there to assist and use basics and stuff. But in threes, for quite a while, like last season, I tried it both ways. I think it's actually better to put the immunity on Cat because you're rolling a smaller dice. Because if Maul still targets Cat with his first hit of the 5 stats, she won't be, unless the speed imbalances, unless your Cat is super fast and the Maul is sort of slow, she won't be able to use even her middle to swap to JMK, and she probably will not get to her ult until after Lord Vader ults. And in that case, your GK has already taken a turn, and probably your GK or Cat will die before she even gets to her ult.
So refresh her cooldowns and try to work on Maul with JMK as you can, and you pretty much just have to wait until Cat can annihilate Royal Guard.
Exactly, because worst case, her cooldowns are pushed back for 1, so she'll have to take another turn. Probably she will take it before Lord Vader gets his AoE and his ult. I think the majority of the time.
Okay.
It's possible your GK still dies and you have to clean up, but I think the chances of having to clean up with all 3 alive are almost nothing.
Yeah.
Like at least Royal Guard will die.
Here's another question. Would you rather have the set 9 with the 15% health and protection DC, or the 75% damage reduction for Jedi?
I would go to GG and see what data there is.
I don't pay for it, so I can't like do all the fancy stuff. But my GK is probably really slow, so he probably wouldn't even be a half turn meter by the time Maul went for his first onslaught. So actually, I think I answered my own question.
Yeah, 15% would be better then.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I would say 15% is better. But I hadn't thought about the 75% reduction. Well, after this call is over, I'll go look at GG and I'll send you the stats either way. So you
okay, sounds good. Anything else you want to highlight about the first week before we wrap up?
Yes, I would say 2 things. Again, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, talking about the Wookiees, I'm so surprised how good Tarful and his team is with the level 9 for Tarful. Yeah. That's crazy good. And you only need Relic 5 Tarful. I mean, still it's Relic 5, but it's not as big of an investment. And I expect this week, to see more C and Savage on defense, because it's one of the only ways to pull an SLKR or JMK on offense. And then if you have Jabba and Lord Vader in the back, any version of Lord Vader, as long as it stops the Fennec cleanup, you have 3 teams that require one of those 2 teams to do well, sort of.
Dang.
So
yeah, that's gotta be brutal.
That combination of GLs on defense is tough to one-shot, basically.
Yeah. Dang. That's kind of scary. Can you do like a C mirror?
Yes, you absolutely can do a C mirror, but then you're usually left with question Malgus. So you can do Malgus with Jedi Knight Cal. Banners are not as great, and there are some C mirrors where you may fail, because if you're using C mirror, you're going to link Savage, obviously, and then depending on who's faster, you may be able to link C. I forgot exactly how if your C is faster, I think you can link C.
Yeah, if you're faster, Savage. You can link C.
You're still going to be hitting Savage and feeding the C extra offense. So then eventually, when you're an alt, he's still going to be building offense because he's not an alt. And I mean, maybe if you have the ability block, level set 9 ability block to prevent the enemy C from using his protection regeneration, could work. But I still think there is it's not 100% C versus C Malik something, especially if Talon's in there.
I like really screwed up a sea mirror. They had Sith Trooper and Sith Empire Trooper, and I was like agonizing over whether to take Watt or not because I was like, oh, I don't want to get links, but I should have brought Watt because they did a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sith Trooper too, with his level 9 from set 9,
Mhm.
surprisingly large amount of damage when he's in stealth.
Yeah, I don't think they had that one, but it was still like they had a ton
Okay.
of crit damage. So Sith Trooper wrecked my Sith Eternal way faster than I thought.
Yeah.
One more question on that nightmare scenario when you're like, okay, how do you take out Malgus? Do you like Gas versus Malgus in 3v3? I
Well,
hate it.
I would take gas if there's no Darth Revan and no Bastilla Fallen. Like, and still then, I'm not a huge fan of gas. If I have to, I
Yeah.
would, but not really my favorite.
Yeah, it's like 95% win rate overall, and I don't know how. I mean, I took it against a ability block Datacron, and then I didn't put Armor Shred on Malgus, but it still felt like I was getting
Mm.
nowhere. It was a pretty well modded Malgus, though.
What was the sides? What were the sides?
It was like Talon and Marauder or Assassin or something. There weren't anything special on the side.
Assassin can actually make it a bit problematic because it speeds up the big hit thing from Malgus.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked at the particular stats for that one, but Talon's also pretty nasty because she stacks a lot of damage over time, assuming she has the Omicron.
Hmm.
Or even without the Omicron, she stacks. But yeah, in general, I don't like Gas versus Malgus.
Okay, glad you feel the same way. Okay, that's all the
Yeah.
theoretical questions I have for now. We've been looking at a blank screen for a bit. So, yeah, let's wrap it up. Thanks so much, Ken. Thanks for letting me pick your brain and sharing your footage. Always a pleasure.
Always happy to be here, chat with you. Some good ideas. I'll send you those GG stats once we get off the call.
Sounds good. All right. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Cheers.